Over the years, working as a wealth manager and investment analyst with time spent inside banking as well, I've started to notice a pattern. The people who struggle the most with money don't usually struggle because they are unintelligent or irresponsible. They struggle because of the way they talk about money. Certain phrases come up again and again, and on the surface, they sound harmless, sometimes even sensible. But in reality, they act like a quiet mental script that shapes behavior, lowers standards, and slowly sabotages financial progress. So in this video, I want to walk you through 5 phrases you should seriously reconsider saying when next it comes to mind, why they're so damaging, and what to replace them with instead. If you're new here, hi, my name is Beth. I work in wealth management and investment analysis. And on this channel, we talk about personal finance, decision making, and building a life with intention. Let's get into it. Phrase number 1, someone else takes care of it for me. This is one of the most common and one of the most dangerous. It might be a partner, an advisor, an accountant, or even the assumption that the system or the government will sort things out. And on the surface, it sounds reasonable. After all, delegation is smart, right? Here's the issue. There's a fine line between delegation and disengagement. Delegation means you stay involved, you stay informed, you stay intentional. Disengagement means you checked out completely and handed over the responsibility for outcomes you don't fully understand. I've seen this play out many times. People assume that someone else would make better decisions for them, understand their priorities, anticipate their fears, and protect their future exactly the way they would. But that doesn't ever work because no matter how skilled or what intention someone else, they can't live your life for you. They don't know what trade-offs you're willing to make. They don't feel your anxiety, they don't feel your insecurity, and they don't understand your long-term vision for freedom. And when you disconnect from your own finances, you lose clarity and confidence. Money starts to feel like something that happens to you instead of something that you actively direct. You don't need to do everything, true, but you do need to understand what's happening and you do need to stay involved. No one should care more about your finances than you do. Phrase number 2, money doesn't really matter to me. This one often sounds almost virtuous, like caring about money is shallow or materialistic, but in my experience, this phrase usually marks avoidance. What it often really means is, I don't want to deal with this. Money absolutely matters. Not because it guarantees happiness, but because it underpins choice. It affects where you live, how you respond to emergencies, who you can help, and how much control you can have over your own life. Ignoring money doesn't make you virtuous. It makes you vulnerable. When you don't engage with your finances, you limit your options, you increase stress, you reduce your ability to adapt to life when life inevitably changes. Money doesn't need to be your obsession, yeah, but it does deserve your attention. And ironically, the better you manage money, the less mental space it takes up, freeing you to focus on other stuff that actually matters to you. A better way to frame this isn't money doesn't matter, but money is a tool. How can I use it to support the life that I want? Phrase number 3, I'm just bad with money. This phrase might be the most destructive of all. After years of working with people across different income levels, I can tell you this, saying you're bad with money is rarely a fact. It's a permission slip. It allows you to stop trying, stop learning, and stop taking responsibility. Psychologists call this a fixed mindset, the belief that abilities are innate and unchangeable. And research consistently shows that people who adopt this mindset perform worse than people who believe that skills can be developed. Money management isn't a talent you're born with. No one comes into the world understanding investing, tax efficiency, or cash flow. These are learned skills, just like cooking or driving or something else. The people who build financial stability aren't magically gifted. They're just willing to feel uncomfortable while learning. Instead of saying, I'm bad with money, try saying, I'm learning how to be better with money. I'm learning how to manage money better. That shift sounds small, but it changes everything. It opens the door to progress instead of slamming it shut. And honestly, in today's world, saying you're bad at something has never been less true. We have tools and resources and guides that can explain and teach almost anything. Phrase number 4, it's too late now. This one is regret dressed up as finality. When people say this, what they usually mean is, I wish I had started earlier, and since I didn't, I'm giving up. They focus so much on lost time that they freeze in the presence. And that's the real cost in action. Time is important in well building, yes, but it's not the only factor. Contribution size and consistency matters just as much, and both are still within your control at any age. I've worked with people who started in their 40s, 50s, and even later, and still were able to create meaningful financial security, not because they had endless time, but because they committed to steady, consistent, and intentional action once they began. The biggest mistake isn't starting late, it's deciding not to start at all. Instead of asking, what should I have done earlier? Ask, what can I do with the time that I still have? Phrase number 5, I can't afford it. This is one of the most common phrases I hear, and most of the time it's not entirely true. When people say, I can't afford it, it sounds like an objective limitation, like money is the decision maker. But usually, what it really means is, I'm choosing to spend my money elsewhere. That distinction matters. Saying I can't afford it puts you in a passive role. Saying it's not a priority to me right now puts you back in control. It forces honesty. If someone says they can't afford to invest or save, but have just upgraded their phone or taken an expensive trip, the issue clearly isn't money, it's allocation. That realization can be uncomfortable, but it's also empowering. When you acknowledge that you're spending your money on different priorities, you get a chance to decide whether those priorities are actually aligned with the life that you want. And that's the point of managing money in the first place. Those are 5 phrases I hear all the time that quietly holds people back financially. If you've caught yourself saying any of this recently, pay attention. The language you use shapes the actions you take far more than you realize. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.